welcome back to the channel. So you join me for a new YouTube series which is called Hero to Zero and Back to Hero. And what I mean by that is myself, who was a relatively decent time trialist, winning events, being involved in records, cycling records. Over the last year I've taken a bit of a lull in terms of training. Just, you know, the pandemic, races, motivation, working, changes in careers, family life, it's all had quite an impact. So I've lost my fitness levels. I'm still relatively fit and healthy, but I'm not Speedy Clark race fit and healthy as I was back in 2020, which is probably the last time I was really any good. Having a functional threshold power FTP of 320 watts at 61 kilos of body weight, which is pretty good. I don't have a massive engine, but I'm very light, narrow and aerodynamic, so I can make that up in terms of aerodynamic gains. So currently I'm about 80 watts off my functional threshold power, which is a significant drop, and my stamina endurance has dropped as well. So interestingly enough, I'm in my garage just now training on Zwift. We're starting a 3-hour training session, but I'll explain on that in a minute. So interestingly enough, you know, because obviously I work full time, have a family, training time restrictions are quite short. So when I was cycling to a high level, I was training around about 15 hours, sometimes more per week. That was back in 2000 to 2006. And obviously now have a family, etc., working full time. So my training time frames vary from 5 to 10 hours a week, being 10 hours probably the maximum amount I could spend. So everyone's been obsessed with interval short specific training, and it looks like now the studies are going back to what I would call old school training, where you spend a lot of time doing base training, zone 2, which means I can ride and talk like this ultimately, and I have to take in some breaths every now and again. So just now my heart rate's at 137 beats per minute, sitting at about 90 RPM cadence, so 170 watts of power. So yeah, that's okay, but I need to do this for 3 hours. And what this does is it allows mitochondria adaptations in the body. So it's like pyramid training. So you need to build your big base foundation, and then we'll progress towards the intervals. Now, back in the early 1990s, this is how I trained. I'm almost 45 years old, and this is how I trained. And the best season I ever had was 2005, when I was 27 years old, where I was winning and finishing in the top 5 to top 10 consistently in everything I did. So that was pretty good. So yeah, it looks like the trend is going back to old school. Now when I trained back then, power meters and all of this stuff here did not exist. YouTube was only just starting then, actually around about then, or maybe didn't exist, I don't quite know. So I basically trained on feel and heart rate. They were the only metrics I would use. I never looked at speed. I focused on time, because it was all about getting the hours in. And even when I raced, I didn't use a bike computer, I just went on how I felt, and it was always relatively accurate. Now I'm using the power meter now because it means I can focus on my specific zones and know exactly what I'm doing. So if I start to waver from zone 2 up into zone 3, there's different adaptations in the body, and we use different systems to start to fuel the body. start to use more glycogen instead of fat, and that's a no-no. So just now, for the next few weeks, it's all about base training and weight training as well to build up core strength and stability. So the weather's nice outside, quite windy, but the reason why I'm indoors on Zwift is simply to get the adaptations in the specific zone and the endurance in. So we'll catch up at the end of this 3-hour run. Okay, so that is 3 hours on the Turbo Trainer Zwift done. 93 kilometers covered. Oh, I can feel that, I can tell you. So good zone 2 ride, but the fatigue accumulates, especially when not doing 3 hours in one go for a while. So yeah, onwards and upwards. So basically we're training for the Strathpuffer 24-hour mountain bike challenge that will happen the second weekend in January 2023. So we're coming to 16th of October today, so we've got a few weeks, couple of months to get ready, but we will need good consistent focus. So thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned for further training updates, and we'll catch you later. Bye bye.